Hey there, welcome to the Baby Playbook podcast. I'm Nikolina Koewska-Karufe, and when I was pregnant, I thought I did everything right when it came to preparing myself for motherhood. I read all the books and did all the classes, but nothing got me ready for the chaos and confusion that hit me once my little boy Noah came into the world. Figuring out your baby is hard work and entails a lot of late night Googling. This podcast is all about guiding you through the mayhem, from sleep schedules to decoding cries, feeling the baby blues, and then all of a sudden starting solids. There's so much to figure out when it comes to your newborn. Let me help you get there with the guidance of experts and first-hand experience so you can spend more time enjoying your baby and less time anxiously searching for answers. Those answers are right here in the Baby Playbook podcast. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of the Baby Playbook podcast. Now, today's episode is going to act as a bit of a checklist for you. We are talking your hospital bag. This is something that all parents will be preparing for. The hospital bag, it just seems like one of those things that is always on your mind to pack, and you feel a little bit nervous about what to actually include in the bag. So today is a bit of a checklist. I'm going to run through every single item that you should be putting in this bag and some little tips and tricks on what could make your stay and your experience at the hospital a little bit more comfortable for those who are having a hospital birth. Now, the number of things you pack in your hospital bag will depend on your stay. So if you know you are going to be staying for up to 5 days or so, I know a lot of private hospitals already kind of offer you that experience, so you know how long you'll be staying. And if your partner is staying with you as well, that is something to take into consideration. You will need quite a lot of spare clothes, undies, more, and everything for the baby as well. But if you're staying for a lesser amount of time, then of course do the math there. Now, my suggestions are a guide on what you need, though the amounts can of course be determined by your length of stay. I would assume a minimum of 3 days just to be safe if you actually don't know how long you will be staying, which many of us don't. All right, let's kick off with the most important thing. You need some pajamas. So let's be honest. Basically, pajamas is what you will be living in while in hospital and also at home. So my big tip here is go out and buy some nice sets of PJs. Those ones that you feel good in, you can walk around in the ward in without needing to change, just something really nice. Now, hospitals are usually quite cold, so I do recommend some long pant and long sleeve pajamas, but then also a short set in case you're really feeling hot and I guess a little bit uncomfortable. Light long sleeve sets are really nice. And also, if you are going to be breastfeeding or planning on trying, then make sure that your top has buttons. So really quick undo and then really quick redo if you have some visitors coming. Really easy to feed in. Okay, the next thing on the checklist is underwear. Make sure they are large, make sure they are comfortable. Do not bring any uncomfortable underwear to the hospital, and make sure they're there, I would say, a size up or even 2 sizes up, just to make you a little bit more comfortable and nothing really holding too many things in, annoying you. Now, I'm usually a size 8. I got a size 12 pack to give you a bit of context. You don't want anything tight digging in around your belly, just supportive and comfortable, okay? The other thing you will need is maternity bras, mostly if you are trying to breastfeed. So have a couple of those in your bag ready to go so it's really easily accessible. But to be honest, you might be skipping out on wearing bras during your entire stay, and that's totally okay as well. The other thing is a robe. Now, I want to admit here, I'm not a massive robe person. I actually think they're a little bit overrated, but if you are, then bring one and you can also just live in that. It will just act as a bit of a pajama. Next tip here is, of course, do not forget your phone charger. And adding here, get an extended phone charger cable, because you never know where the plug is in your room. So you really want to be able to kind of access your phone at any time and have it a lengthy cable that you can kind of grab when you're in the bed in case that plug is all the way at the other side of the room. The other thing you need is a big water bottle. I'm talking really big. You need to be keeping hydrated. You need to be reminding yourself to keep hydrated, and a water bottle next to you is the best reminder of that. Another thing that you should be looking into is maternity pads. Bring more than you think you need. Trust me, okay? Bring a whole packet, but then also on that note, Of course, if you have the support of your partner or people visiting, ask them to bring another packet if you need. So don't overpack, but get a good amount. Portable water bidet. So this is something to help with the cleanup, I will say, if you do have a vaginal birth. So you can buy a cheap one online or at the chemist, and it really helps to clean that area when you go to the bathroom post-birth. Really, really handy. And this was a gift that I got from another mum, which totally saved me at the hospital. The other thing I would look into is a heat pack. So this just helps with pains in all different areas. You can pop it on your stomach, you can pop it on your chest area, on your head, just to kind of relax yourself while you're at the hospital. Nipple care is a must if you are attempting to breastfeed. Get a pack with some simple nipple cream, Aid Hydrogel breast discs are also really, really handy, and some nursing pads as well. Put together a little pack for nipple care. Baby outfits. Okay, so my rule when it comes to baby outfits, 100% cotton is really handy. It just means that your baby isn't really going to be sweating or uncomfortable in those onesies. So I always go for 100% cotton onesies and singlets as well. Make sure one of the outfits that you pack also covers and checks off your Instagram announcement pic, okay? Plan the outfit, it's a lot of fun, and bring that with you. Now let's talk about your own clothes. So you need an outfit for when you leave the hospital in. Make sure it's super comfortable, super stretchy, and do not even think about bringing jeans, okay? Too uncomfortable. Just bring the comfortable stuff. All right, next on the list is your formula and bottles. Now, this is, of course, if you need. Before bringing your own formula, though, ask the hospital to confirm what brands they offer, as it might be one that you are planning on using anyway or would like to try, and then that saves you from bringing the whole tin with you. But be prepared if this is something that you've made a decision on, or if you may need, which many people do, that you have those packed and ready to go. But the hospital will also help in this sense. A breast pump. This is also something you might want to think about. First, ask the hospital if they do have one available for you to use while there, but if it is something that you're considering doing, pumping, then this could be something that you need to pack. The other thing is nappies, wipes, and nappy cream. So while you're at the hospital, biggest tip, use as many of their nappies as you can, okay? Ask for the stock when you need it. Nappies are pretty expensive, so you can use theirs while you're there. But of course, if you have been asked, then bring some nappies yourself, wipes, and some nappy cream for baby. The other note is dummies. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit more about dummies, because this is something that all parents will go through as to whether they're using or not using dummies with their babies. I want to share my experience first. So I always thought that if I don't ever give my baby a dummy, then technically they will never know what a dummy is or what it could do. Okay, so that was my thinking. So I was pretty afraid that a dummy would become a sleep aid, and for some kids it does become a sleep aid, and it's a really positive thing, and for some kids it does become a sleep aid, and it's a real difficult thing to get rid of. But once your baby does start to sleep in cycles and they get quite used to dummies, then they may cry every time it pops out of their mouth, and that becomes a whole thing at night because you're going into their room and putting it back in their mouth. So because I never gave one to my baby, he never really got used to it, knew what it was, so I never actually went ahead with dummies. But I also see the advantages that dummies bring for other babies, and there are some medical reasons as to if your baby will potentially even need a dummy to help. So some babies may need that with their sucking reflex, so it's totally up to you if you decide to use one. What I would say is that if you do think you might, then bring a dummy or two to the hospital. Now you will, I repeat, you will probably go through a few different dummies before you land on the one your baby likes, okay? They have a preference. It's weird, but they get a pretty, I guess, targeted preferences to the brand and the type of dummy you like, and then you'll end up buying 100 of those. But if you do decide to stick to a dummy and to choose one, then what I would say is do your research, decide, and then stick to that decision. Do not keep offering it and then taking it away all throughout the months because you're not really sure whether you want to commit to the dummy or not. You really need to make that decision, because then it'll really become quite confusing for your baby as well, and confusing for you. So that is my full hospital bag list. Now, the other quick tips I want to get out there is another thing that you can consider bringing is some snacks. Of course, you know that at a hospital, you are limited by the food that the hospital has. So if you need some snacks and some favorite snacks and your favorite tea bags, favorite coffee pods, that sort of thing, start to think about that and put together a bit of a snack bag for you so you're nice and comfortable there. Hey, thank you so much for listening to this. I'm going to link a few things in the show notes as to what I've talked about here and some of the brands that I used and some of the things that I like. So please check the show notes down there. If you have listened to this episode and you've been listening to the podcast and you have been liking it / loving it, I would love if you could subscribe and also leave a review for us so that we can get this information out there to other moms and dads who need it, to just help them navigate this crazy time a little bit easier than they have been. I will be chatting to you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.